Glad to have you with us here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones is in the building, ladies and gentlemen, your fearless leader, as we are talking about a brand new mock draft from ESPN's Field Yates. We will show you who has Field Yates ending up in Seattle with his analysis. We'll share our thoughts, and there's a trade involved coming up here in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, if you want the Chiefs to have a great draft, I have one thing and only one thing you need to do right now. Let's hit that like button. Don't jinx it. Let's have some good vibes sent over to Brett Veach and Andy Reid and company as they get ready for the draft, less than a month away. Do your part. Hit the like button. Let's get at least 500 likes on today's video, and we'll get started with today's show. Field Yates of ESPN put together a 2-round mock draft for all 32 teams in the National Football League, including the Kansas City Chiefs. And I got to say, a lot of people are talking about this mock draft, and it's been a bit controversial for several teams in the NFL, including Kansas City, especially when you see the trade that he's put in here and who it is involved with. We'll explain that in just a moment. Let's kind of set the scene for you of what is ahead for the Kansas City Chiefs going into the draft. Andy Reid enters year numero 13 as the Kansas City Chiefs head coach. The Chiefs cap space currently is just under $12 million, according to overthecap.com. And usually you spend about $10 million on your draft picks, so they got just enough money when it comes to the draft to be able to take care of those things. And they have a lot of needs to address. Brett Veach talked prior to the offseason that they would approach this draft as if it was their version of free agency, that they were going to take care of their biggest needs here in this draft. The needs include the offensive line, wide receiver, edge, running back, defensive back, linebacker, and the defensive line. All in all, Kansas City has 8 total picks in this year's draft, including a first-round selection at 31. Wish that was 32, but I digress. Second-round pick at 63. 2 third-round picks, one at 66 and then another at 95. That means 4 picks in the top 100 for Kansas City. And then they have a 4th-round pick at 133, and it will be a while before the Chiefs make another selection, as they have 3 7th-round picks, one at 226, one at 251, and at 257. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in and get started to the Field Yates mock draft. And we start with a trade. The Kansas City Chiefs trading down in the draft. Not up, trading down. And the team that they are doing business with is none other than the Las Vegas Raiders, the division rival. Here is the deal that Field Yates has put together and accepted on behalf of the Kansas City Chiefs. They trade down from 31 to 37, and in exchange, they get to move up in the 3rd round from 95 to 68. So, what does Kansas City end up doing with the 37th overall pick? Now that they have traded down, the Kansas City Chiefs ultimately select Ohio State offensive tackle Josh Simmons with the 37th overall pick. Let's dive in and see more what Field Yates had to say about why he projected Josh Simmons to end up in Kansas City with this pick. Yates said the following: "The Chiefs are finally off the board after our projected trade out of the 1st round, but good news. They get their guy. Simmons is coming off of a torn particular tendon, which is the only reason he is even in this range. If healthy, he would be long gone by the 2nd round, and he still might go sooner than this. But Kansas City can afford to be patient after signing Jalen Moore in free agency, and Simmons could be eased into action behind him." Now, when it comes to potentially trading down, I'm always hesitant. My belief is, people ask me all the time, Tyler, do you think the Chiefs are going to trade up? Do you think they're going to trade down? And what I have said many times over, it all depends on how the board shakes out. And in this case, this is a player that the Chiefs very well could have taken at 31. And we've seen a lot of mock drafts with the Chiefs, going with Simmons here at 31. But instead, they trade down, and they still get Simmons, although they don't get the opportunity now to give him a player option with a 5-year deal that's only exclusive to first-round picks. But then I get to jump up significantly in the third round as a result, and I get the player that I was probably going to pick at 31 anyway. That doesn't sound too bad. More on Simmons. Began his career at San Diego State from 2021 to 2022, then played his final 2 seasons at The Ohio State. And even with the injuries he dealt with this year, he was still a third-team All-Big Ten selection and helped Ohio State en route to a national title this past season as well, there with the Ohio State Buckeyes, who had just a mean offensive line. They were just nasty up front, and Simmons was one of the biggest reasons why. You look at his grades according to Pro Football Focus this past season. He had an overall grade solid, 74.4. Pass block grade was really good with an 82.0. Run blocking could use some work with a 68.7 grade, and he did not allow a single sack, did get called for 1 penalty. And taking it a step further, when you look at his stats, overall grade, we mentioned earlier, that 74.0, but didn't allow any sacks, didn't allow any hits, only 1 hurry and 1 penalty. Those are really good, but it is a small sample size of 306 snaps because of the injuries that he dealt there. The scouting report, he's a loose, fluid mover. He's got excellent quickness, very good play strength, inside strike ability to punch. There are some questions about there if he's going to be a guard or if he's going to be a tackle. He might have to learn to play tackle eventually, but if you're Kansas City, you just want this guy in the building, and you'll figure out a spot for him. Early in his career, he had some careless penalties. He did a better job of that this year with only getting called for 1 penalty, but it could be something to monitor down the line. So what do you think about Josh Simmons and the pick made here by Field Yates to trade down and get Simmons? It's our pinned comment today. Type S for select, P for pass. Chime in the comment section and let us know. The Kansas City Chiefs Report is bringing you daily videos here on the channel with our news and rumors. We're doing live shows each and every Tuesday. We're counting you down to the draft. We're still talking free agency and trades as well here on the channel. We are your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. I want to get at least 20 subscribers off today's video because I want to make sure you're a part of this journey, this ride we're on together as we count down towards the draft. We are your off-season headquarters. We have 70,000 people subscribe to the channel. I want you to be the very next one to subscribe. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications. Lock us in so you never miss a moment. YouTube.com/ChiefsTV. Up next, we find with the 63rd overall pick in the second round, the Chiefs go with edge rusher Landon Jackson from the University of Arkansas. Let's get to know Landon Jackson a little bit more. Field Yates said this: as the Chiefs work to solidify their edge rusher group, Jackson is worth a look at the end of round 2. He would provide their defense with outstanding length and an empty-the-tank mentality on every play. Jackson had 25 tackles for loss and 13 sacks over the past 2 seasons. He's got really good size. He looks the part. The production should translate to the next level, I would think, based on the fact that he has the body type for it and did it in the toughest competition in the SEC. And on top of that, you're filling another position of need as well in the process. More on Landon Jackson here. Began his career at LSU in 2021, then transferred over to the Hogs there in Fayetteville. He was a first-team All-SEC selection in 2023, a second-team All-SEC selection in 2024. And here's the production we're talking about here, folks. Back-to-back seasons with 6.5 sacks. His pressures went up from 22 to 35 this year, along with 1 forced fumble as well. And all those TFLs that Field Yates was talking about. 10 this year, 14 last year. A really good run for Landon Jackson there at Arkansas. His scouting report, great length and size. He's physical at the point of the attack. That's a great draft cliche that I love to hear. If you hear that about any guy, you know it's a good one. He extends and sets the edge very well. He's got active hands. At times, though, he can be a bit too robotic. and he needs to stop thinking like he's an AI tool like ChatGPT or something, and move around a little bit better. And if he does those things, he'll be in good shape. What do you think about Landon Jackson? Should the Chiefs draft him? You got two options here. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in. Tell us if you think they should draft Jackson or not. Chiefs Polos are on sale now for up to 50% off. Chatsports.com/Chiefs Polos, where you get yours today. The stripe, the gray, the red, all at the same link. We also have other polos beyond what you're seeing on your screen at that same link. We also have Chiefs merchandise available at chatsports.com/Chiefs Polos to get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Go check that out, chatsports.com/Chiefs Polos to get yours now. As I look back, this two-round mock of these two selections, I don't hate this mock. I know it's going to catch people off guard with making a trade and a trade with the Raiders of all teams. But in the day, you get two really good players at two positions of need with Josh Simmons and with Landon Jackson here. I think you would be very happy if you start your draft with these two. Two really solid players that help your cause. You're killing two birds with one stone here. You're getting talent, and you're also taking care of needs at the same time. I think Field did a very good job for the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, some people aren't so happy with how the rest of his mock draft played out with the other teams. Let's tell you about the rest of Field's mock draft here across the NFL. Number one pick, Titans go Cam Ward, quarterback from Miami. Cleveland at 2 goes with Abdul Carter, the defensive end from Penn State. 3, although the Giants brought in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, they still go Shedeur Sanders from Colorado with that pick. Then at 4, his teammate Travis Hunter, the wide receiver and corner from Colorado, he goes to the New England Patriots. At 5, the Jags, they go defensive tackle from Michigan, Mason Graham. At 6, Boise State star running back Ashton Jeanty goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. At 7, the Jets, they go offensive tackle from Mizzou, Armand Mimbo. And then at 8, the Carolina Panthers, they go with edge/linebacker Jalen Walker from Georgia. At 9, Shamar Stewart, he ends up with the New Orleans Saints, the defensive end from Texas A&M. While the Chicago Bears at 10, they go with offensive lineman Will Campbell from LSU. Then at 11, the San Francisco 49ers select Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Ole Miss. While T-Mac, the star wide receiver from Arizona, he goes to the Dallas Cowboys at 12. Then at 13, one of my favorite players in this draft, Michigan corner Will Johnson, joins the Miami Dolphins. 14, the Colts, they go with another guy I really like a lot, Tyler Warren, the star tight end from Penn State. I think he's going to be great at the next level. He goes to Indy there at 14. 15, Mike Green. He's seen his stock rise quite a bit. The edge rusher from Marshall, drawing some comparisons to Khalil Mack. Atlanta gets some help on the defensive side of the ball. 16, Kelvin Banks. Man, it'd be nice if he found a way to fall all the way to Kansas City at 31. That seems unlikely at this point. He goes to Arizona at 16, the offensive tackle from Texas. Speaking of offensive lineman, Gray Zabel, we don't know when he's going to play at the next level. I know the Chiefs certainly have their eyes on him. He goes to Cincinnati at 17 out of North Dakota State. 18, the Seattle Seahawks, they go with Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. While at 19, the Bucks go with Georgia safety Malachi Starks. And at 20, the Denver Broncos, they go with North Carolina running back Armarian Hampton with their selection. At 21, the Steelers, they go quarterback Jackson Dart from Ole Miss. Well, 22, the LA Chargers, they grab up a tight end, a guy that is very familiar with Jim Harbaugh. That is Colston Loveland with their pick. 23, Mikael Williams, the edge rusher from Georgia, ends up in Green Bay. 24, Barron, the corner from Texas, goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Then at 25, another offensive lineman off the board. This time it's Donovan Jackson, the offensive tackle from Ohio State. And then at 26, the LA Rams, they go with Maxwell Harrison, the corner from Kentucky. 27, the Ravens defense, they could use a little bit of help. They took a step back last year. They go with a very good pass rusher in James Pierce Jr., edge from Tennessee. 28, the Lions, they had a playmaker on the defensive side of the ball next to Aiden Hutchinson. They go with Oregon defensive tackle Derek Harmon. 29, Nick Imanwari, the safety from South Carolina, goes to the Commanders. At 30, with a little trade involving Buffalo and New England. The Patriots go with Josh Connerly Jr., the offensive tackle from Oregon. And then the Raiders, the pick they make at 31 in that trade with the Chiefs, they go with Luther Burden III, the wide receiver from Mizzou. And then rounding out the first round is Jahad Campbell, the linebacker from Alabama, there for the Philadelphia Eagles. So that's all the picks there for the first round from Field Yates. And I want to know, folks, I'm very curious what your grade is for the mock draft that we saw Field Yates put together for the Kansas City Chiefs. I like this mock draft. I would give this an A-. I think it's pretty good. And you get to move up in the third round. You still got maybe the player you were going to pick at 31. I'll go A-. Give me your grade in the comments section. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video. We certainly appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here at the Chiefs Report.